Hello, as usual it's me, Pavlo, and today we'll be talking about Shanling's M1S player. Actually, M1 is one of my most beloved series in the Shanling lineup. A long time ago they released first version of M1 and it was I'm trying not to overemphasize it, but it was a big thing that time because it was compact player with pretty decent sound and rather comfortable in terms of controls. Then Shanling released M0 that get much more attention because it was even smaller and a lot of people adore it. But then they released absolutely stunning and beautiful Q1 because that design was definitely great. And now they decided to return back to the M series. I don't know why they decided to not make Q1S, but they decided to return to the basics, and here is M1S. It's a compact portable player, of course not as compact as M0, but still on the smaller side of things, built with ESS 9038 Q2M and Rycore amplifiers. It delivers up to 245 milliwatts for 32 ohms output for balanced out and 144 for the single-ended. Work time is about 14 hours from single-ended and about 10 from the balanced. Maybe slightly less depending on what load are you using, what volume gain and so on. Also, it has Bluetooth, and as usual for Shanling, it offers two-way Bluetooth connectivity. Actually, Shanling popularized this thing a long time ago, and it works as transmitter and receiver. Also, it has Wi-Fi, but no streaming services support, so Wi-Fi here is mainly to download lyrics and album covers, to update firmware, and also it can be used as AirPlay or DLNA device to stream over your network, which is also pretty good feature. Price is about $230, and you can get also pretty nice leather case for extra price, $15 or so, like that. And probably I've told everything about it, so let's have a closer look. Of course, I will add links to the shops in the description. Box is nice, it's traditional Shanling's approach to design. To me it looks a bit random, but at least they use nice, bright, exciting colors. Inside of the outer sleeve we getting even brighter orange box. And here is player itself. Underneath we getting box with USB cable, I suppose. Yep. And this box labeled accessories, but honestly I think it will be mostly papers. So let's check out. Papers, manuals, and screen protector, so that's it. In terms of design, it's really cool. It's made of metal, and there are different colors to choose from. And in terms of shape, it's that shape that Shanling figured out a long time ago. And it's one of the most natural shapes for the player, because you take it, your finger goes to the volume knob and on-off button, and one finger rests somewhere on top, and two fingers naturally lies in this groove, so everything is like, you know, probably the best possible grip that can be. Really comfortable in handling, and in terms of controls, really well built. So on this side we have on-off button and the volume wheel. It's based on the encoder. You can click it, press it to turn on and off, and you can rotate it to change volume. On top we getting 3.5mm single-ended and Pentagon 4.4mm out. On the side we have USB Type-C slot for charging, to access memory, to connect external digital to analog converter, to use it as a digital to analog converter, so all that typical functions. And the micro SD slot, so you can use your favorite cards here. On the bottom nothing, and rear side has this black glass-like cover. It gathers fingerprints, but luckily it's some oleophobic surface, so it's pretty easy to wipe, but it will getting fingerprints back instantly. But nice traditional classical combination of gold and black, always looks in style. At the top part of the player we have 3 buttons: previous track, next track and play pause. So I don't know why they put them here, so you'll need to use a little bit that your screen is under the control buttons. You know, not like it makes any practical difference, just it's a bit unusual. Screen is pretty wide, but not as tall, but has interesting proportions, but it's still a step forward comparing to M0, and the big step forward, so it's much more convenient in usage, starting from instant playback controls and ending with a bigger screen, which is also nice here. So let's get the brightness to maximum. As you can see, it's a bright screen, it's sharp, and it's made by Sharp with pretty decent viewing angles, and it has enough brightness to be visible even under the bright sun. It registers taps and swipes pretty well, but at the end that all comes to the built-in firmware, because it's still scrolling here is not as native and as in Android or iOS, but also slightly improved comparing to M0. So in terms of external, and here is a case, so let me show it to you in the case. Missed it a little bit, so here how it looks in case, also pretty nice. So in terms of exterior, I think it's a really good device. In terms of firmware, it's some custom built solution by Shanling, but compared to M0, it's really night and day difference. There are still few things to compare, but you know, jump in ergonomics compared with M0 is simply night and day. So, wake up. Here is the main screen. Here you can instantly get to the now playing screen. You can see album cover, you can see lyrics if they are present, information about track, you can get more detailed information. You have progress bar and navigation buttons, also button with additional menu, so you can get A/B repeat if you, for example, learning language and using some audiobook or something like that. You can actually speed up music, probably it's for the audiobooks too. Download cover and lyrics, add to playlist, or delete this song if you don't like it, so pretty good. Also you can add it to the playlist, to favorites, and you can change the playback order, whatever you like. So pretty useful and well organized screen. Swipe from left to right to go back, and here you've got a lot of different menu items. All tracks with the list of all tracks you have on your microSD card. And as you can see, scrolling here is a bit improved. It's of course not as native as on Android, but there is no that hysterical scrolling from the M0, where you make small swipe and actually it scrolls like half screen up and down. So here you can scroll pretty well. Of course it's lacking a bit of additional inertia, but much better. Browse by albums, as usual. You can get here album covers, and that's nice. Favorites by artist, only high-res tracks. Actually, do I have any? No, probably not on this card. And composer, playlist, genres, frequently played, recently played, recently added. You can browse everything by folder. You can use SD card, or you can add some on-the-go drive if you'd like this option. And also there are two settings menus. I will show it to you now, but if you scroll even further, actually you can select what items you'd like to see in the menu. For example, I can turn off high res, composer. I don't have that much of classical music. Like, I rarely use recently and recently added. Browse by folders I need, settings also I need. So that's how we can minimize the menu and get only what you need. In the playback settings, we can control maximum volume, default volume after boot up, resume mode, remember track or position, gapeless playback, equalizer, just simple linear equalizer, but sometimes it's useful to do some tweaks. Gain, low and high, replay gain, digital output if you need to turn it on and off, and digital filters, the whole list for this digital tonal converter, channel balance, play mode and skip folder. So all basic controls that you need are here. In the system settings, we can update media library automatically, manually, so there are a few options related to that. In the wireless settings, we can activate Wi-Fi, Bluetooth and Sync Link. Sync Link is a good feature that allows you to control Shanling device from smartphone or other device. So pretty traditional, you turn on Wi-Fi, it starts searching, then it search. I have connected network, it's connecting to it automatically, but let's delete it for the sake of experiment, enter. And the only drawback here is that keyboard for entering password. It's a bit painful because I have really good random password with a lot of different things here. And Bluetooth works the same. Network service, you can activate DLNA, AirPlay and Wi-Fi file transfer. Not fast, but if you need to add few files, it's pretty okay. USB mode, digital tonal converter or storage device, DSD output mode, USB audio output settings, not much settings, just the basic one. Output options, phone out and line out, so gives you a warning that if you select it, it can be loud. In vehicle mode, it's like you connect it via USB to your charger, and when you start the engine, it will boot up. When you shut it down, or actually, sorry, I don't know English term for disengaging the car, it will turn off. So enlarged album art you can enable, set sleep timer in the idle if you need, system update, screen off. It has online update, but it's super slow. Shanling for many years can't organize nice CDN. Lock screen, double click power key to wake, buttons lock, theme and about. So as you can see, a lot of settings. And another one important thing, when you swipe from top, you're getting traditionally quick settings menu with possibility to enable, disable wireless interfaces, lock screen, select gain, rotate and so on. So fast access to the settings. In general works pretty well, not like ideal in terms of scrolling, but really normal ergonomics for the modern player and as well as feature set. And of course about the sound, you know, Shanling is pretty consistent in terms of their tuning and representation. They create players that are focused on a slightly warm and more comfortable, more so-called analog sound. And this one is not an exception, but it's one of the least colored players in the Shanling's lineup, and probably because of pretty good digital tonal converter used here, it's rather technical and at the same time pretty resolving. So, you know, main coloration here is a bit more weight on bass and a bit more smooth treble, but mids are clean, pretty clear, and but in general really musical. So it's representation for those who like Shanling sound, or for those who want to try Shanling sound but not at the maximum settings. So let's talk about everything step by step. Of course, These earphones here are just for illustration purpose, because I used it with more natural earphones for testing. So bass is deep, it's controlled really well, it has a bit of additional weight, but really tiny hint of that coloration, and at the same time it doesn't reduce speed and impactfulness. So if you like nice full-bodied bass, if you like it to be with a bit of additional presence, it's a really good option. So it's decent in terms of micro details extraction for the low frequencies. So acoustical instruments also sound pretty saturated with small nuances and details. Really good texturing, but at the same time that hint of additional weight makes acoustic instruments a bit bigger than they are in real life. But for electronic music, for pop music relating on the low frequencies, it's a really good option, especially if you select some good pairing for it. And my first example, it's Daft Punk Instant Crush. Exactly that case that suits this player. This track has tasty bass line, but at the same time it's not super bass dependent, and it also requires a good mids performance and treble to play everything present in this track, and actually sounds really well with this player. Mid frequencies are almost uncolored. There is a slight hint of additional weight, but it's not really much. It just makes sound signature a bit more emotional and a bit highlighting male vocals and some instruments that benefit of the added weight. But at the same time you're getting really good resolution and actually not much of boosted dynamics or attempts to highlight emotions or something like that. Imaginary stage is built really well, it's pretty spacious in width, a bit smaller in depth, but at the same time for the price tier and for that segment it's pretty nicely built, so you'll get nice sense of airness and good sense of saturation with everything. And it's it's not super critical for the quality of record, so with something poorly recorded it will sound rather okay, but at the same time, as usual, better material will give you a better result here. And as an example for the mid frequencies, I've got Time Has Come by Europe. Everyone knows the final countdown, but actually Europe have a lot of other really great songs like Ballad Carey, or for example this one, Time Has Come. It's typical 80s like hairy metal, a bit leaning towards the not heavy side, so not true metal, but really engaging, good tune, bit of synthesizer, nice vocal, so like catchy, good tune that everyone's like. And synthesizer and vocal and guitars require nice mids performance, and this player delivers it really well, so you can definitely hear all the different nuances that are present in this track. And the treble, it's slightly it's not reduced in terms of frequency response, but it's a bit less energetic than like in natural situation. So it's a bit softened, but not too much. You get nice extension, but of course no rich layering, no high overtone saturation, but basic overtones are present here, but at the same time they are a bit less forward, so if you're sensitive to the treble, just a little bit sensitive, and you want a bit more relaxed treble signature, it's a really good option for you to consider. If you like treble, then probably you need to look for some other device, because it's not big change, but it's still noticeable, and it depends on your tastes and only on your tastes. So for some people it could be really good, relaxed treble, comfortable, not sharp even on the sharply recorded tracks. For others it be like lacking of treble. But in general it's not that much than in some other Shanling's players, so this one is one of the closest to neutrality in the Shanling's lineup. And let's go for the treble example. It's unusual track. It's King Crimson, their version of Bolero, and it's a really great unusual version with lot of instruments, both wind and others, and like in typical Bolero they appeared one by one, followed by a catchy drum line, but here it's a bit closer to that art rock and classical music, like flawless performance and really engaging tune track. Of course, this player is not enough to represent it fully, because it requires much more layered treble, much more high-end players, but still pretty engaging and enjoyably sound anyway. In terms of pairing, it's really good with in-ear monitors with low background noise, especially on the low gain. With full-size headphones it drive like average and sensitive models without problems, but with some tough to drive planars, of course, it's not the perfect idea to get it, but from the balanced out it's pretty capable of driving a lot of things. Speaking about the comparisons and one few extra words, of course it's a matter of taste, but it's better not to select warmer earphones to pair with it, because it became too bassy. But actually if you like really bassy sound, it can be also a good pairing for you. Speaking about the comparisons, to me it's a noticeable step forward from the M0. I've heard some people and some reviews saying that difference is not that much, but for me this player is more detailed, with better stage, with less warm sound, and in general noticeably more technical. And next step is Shanling M3 Ultra. It's more dynamic, more refined in the treble area, so it's just another step forward and also another noticeable step. So you know, affordable lineup of Shanling is really solid now, with M0, M1S and M3 Ultra. Another competitors of this model are Hibi R3, which is a bit closer to neutrality, and Heidi's AP80 that actually like crosses the middle line and goes more to neutral and more brighter and monitoring sound, so it's kind of going in the opposite direction to this player. To summarize everything, if you're looking for something compact but not super compact and with decent ergonomics, and you like Shanling sound, or okay with a slight hint of added warmth, Shanling M1S is really good offer for you. Thank you for listening, thank you for your attention, and of course have a great day.